My name is Tony, and this is Every Frame a Painting. The first time I ever felt like a movie lied to me, I was 8 years old, and it was Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. Because this isn't San Francisco.
What's this? I thought we were going someplace cool.
This is my favorite place in the entire city.
This is Vancouver, where I grew up. If you watch enough TV shows or blockbusters, then chances are you've seen my city, disguised as Santa Barbara, or as Seattle, and even one time as the Bronx.
Something's always happening here. That's New York for you. You'll get used to it.
But no matter how many movies or TV shows are filmed here, there's always been one nagging problem. We never actually see the city. It's always pretending to be somewhere else.
I'm in Vancouver, downtown, Robson Square, and on location on set of The Interview. This is where Seth Rogen and James Franco, they're supposed to be in North Korea, so check it out.
You are fucking stupid, and you are fucking ignorant, Dave.
Yo, we notorious, huh? Ain't nobody can bang with us. Rascals, checkmate, cardinal and thrust.
Vancouver is actually the third biggest film city in North America. But we're so hidden, we even have movies about how we're not featured in the movies.
My specialty is disguising Vancouver so it looks like an American city.
But how do you fake one city as another without the audience noticing? Well, first you need to know the city, and Vancouver is kind of a chameleon. In Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, it plays Seattle, and Eastern Europe, and even India, all within a 15-minute drive of each other. Once you know the city, it's actually pretty simple to trick the audience. Most people don't question the establishing shot, so you can just find the right building and put a title card on screen. The other option is to shoot second unit footage of another city, and then cut to somewhere in Vancouver. This is especially common with Seattle, since a lot of the architecture there looks pretty similar to here. But to really convince the audience, you're going to need a lot of help. Which brings us to the art department, who control all the little details. Like decals on the sides of cars, American flags in the background, new signs in front of buildings, and this one's my personal favorite.
I'm not gonna kiss them, but let's just say I might give them some.
USA Today vending machines. Because nothing says America like USA Today.
I read it every day for news around the USA.
The next step in faking a city is deciding how you're going to light and shoot it. One of the best ways to disguise Vancouver is to film at night in shallow focus. This is to avoid pulling a rumble in the Bronx, when they pointed the camera north and you could clearly see the mountains.
Hey!
It's kind of remarkable what you can get from a location by changing the angle and the lighting. This is the Orpheum Theater on a tripod from a high angle, and here's the exact same entryway from a low angle, handheld. Last but not least, there's the VFX team, who composite specific elements into the shot. Sometimes it's a landmark, like Alcatraz, the Transamerica Pyramid, or the Space Needle. But other times, they'll change almost the entire frame. This is Front Street, playing Japan, and here it is again, playing future Chicago. And it's all these little details that help us believe the illusion, so that a character can jump out of a window in Vancouver and in the space of one cut, end up in San Francisco. But what does it mean for a city if it's always playing somewhere else? Well, for Vancouver, it means that our on-screen image is kind of generic. What you've seen in the movies is mostly downtown, like the glass buildings along Burrard Street, and the area around Gastown, like this alley off Cambie. The city is kind of like one giant backlot, a bunch of anonymous buildings that can stand in for anywhere else. Even when the movies do go somewhere unique, they have a way of typecasting it. For instance, BCIT's aerospace campus actually looks pretty cool. but it's always turned into some vaguely dystopian government facility. Everybody walks around waving a special badge, and they try to maintain order, but of course they can't. Vancouver's locations are like weirdly familiar character actors. For instance, the city's two biggest universities play opposite roles on screen. SFU, with its concrete staircases, never plays a university. It's either a military base or some evil corporation. Meanwhile, UBC always plays a university. That's located everywhere else but Canada. This year, it even played Washington State U, which means that Vancouver, British Columbia finally got to play...
I'm deeply moved.
Vancouver, Washington. For me, this is the single worst moment in local film history. I will never forgive this. But if filmmaking today is global, why do so many of our stories take place in the same four cities? Is it just so we can destroy the same landmark over and over and over? By the way, take a guess where all four of these films were shot.
Who wants to go to Vancouver?
Sometimes I wonder if local film crews try to sneak the city into the shot as a form of protest.
The next station is Metrotown.
To Hollywood, Vancouver is a location, but not a setting. It's a place with talent and scenery and tax incentives, but almost no film identity of its own. Just other identities it can borrow.
You say you heard this song before. Tell me the morning sun will rise to.
But maybe there's some hope. For 50 years, there's been a local movement of films and TV shows where Vancouver does play itself.
We had no idea how to make a film. We had no idea. We just went ahead and made the film.
A lot of these films aren't widely distributed, but they offer a completely different perspective. For me, they're often a lot closer to my own experiences.
Ready?
As a child of immigrants who mostly explored the city on foot.
Come on, Dad.
These movies treat Vancouver not as a location, but as a setting. And they capture the things that are unique to us. So we need these images more than ever. Because films can preserve a particular time and place. Not as a documentary, but as a fictional story about the real world. And the city deserves better than the occasional joke about its weather.
Pack your winter coat. We're going to Canada's warmest city.
So this is Vancouver, the third biggest filmmaking town in North America. On screen, it is ubiquitous, and it is invisible. But off-screen, there are other angles just waiting to be filmed. And I think it's time we made a real push to create new images of ourselves. Because honestly, it's our city. Who else is going to do it?